So I'm back to show you the Zadie jumpsuit by Paper Theory, the jumpsuit that I'm doing in collaboration with What Vicky Made. And I have now finished my Toile version in the denim. So this is it, all done, all hung up and nicely pressed. I will put some photos in so you can see some close-up detail, but I want to talk through some of the trials and tribulations of the pattern. So I decided to cut a straight size 10 based on my measurements. I have got large boobs, small waist, and then a bigger hip. I know there was plenty of ease in it. I thought I'd go with a straight 10 and just see what happened. So when I started constructing the bottom half, I put in my own details, as you would with denim, by stitching on the inside of the leg to give it a bit of a finishing detail. Got pockets here on the side, and again, as you would on a pair of jeans, I decided to stitch on the outside seam to just below the pocket to give it that bit of a strengthen and the detail you would expect from denim. So it all worked really well. I then made the bodice part of it all, and I attached the two together. At this point, it felt very much done, bar putting the belts on and the binding. But when it came to trying it on, it was a disaster. I can't tell you how big this outfit was. The main problem though, and after going then and checking all the reviews, which I had not read and explored, is that apart from there being a lot of ease, it seems to have quite a low crotch. So I'll get some pictures for you, but it does hang really, really low, and everything just felt very big because of that. And yeah, it was quite awful for quite a while. So I had to think about how I was going to make those adjustments. So I decided to put my technical head on and think about what I needed this to do for my body. And I started by cutting the top away from the bottoms. I didn't unpick because I felt like I could do without that little bit of seam allowance really. So that then got rid of about 2 centimetres, 1 centimetre from the trousers, 1 centimetre from the top. When this was on, I measured how low that crotch was and decided where I would feel it would be more comfortable on me, and I decided it needed to come up by about 3 inches. Okay, so that was quite a lot that needed to come out. So I had to think about how I was going to do this without it affecting the pleats that were already there and the pockets, and that really troubled me. What I ended up doing was pinning all of the pleats in place so I didn't lose all of that detail. And when they were pinned, I then cut the bodice up by one inch. I'm trying to think now, what did I do? Yeah, it was 1 inch. So I took 1 inch at the top of the bodice. I then did the same on the top of the trousers, pinned the pleats in place, and then I cut down by 1 inch. The reason why I did that is because these pockets are really deep. They were really low, so it wasn't going to affect the overall structure at all. The other good thing about the pleats is that they ran vertically, they ran straight down. Sometimes on a bit of an angle, these went straight down, which enabled me to continue that line down with the pleats, and when I reduced them out at the top. All I then had to do was make sure that the pleats from the top of the bodice matched the bottoms. The way I went about that was I pinned it together using those sides to join again, and then I pinned it. Where did I pin it? I just pinned it all the way around, and then I went to the darts afterwards. So where there was any excess, I just folded the darts just a little bit more where it needed to be to make sure they aligned in the top and the bottom, and that worked fine. So there I managed to lose, I'd already lost 2 centimetres in cutting the seam out, and then I lost 1 inch from the top, 1 inch from the bottom. So I was nearly there. So the next thing that I did was I cut, and again, I did just cut, I didn't bother unpicking. I cut away the seams on the insides of the legs, all the way up to the crotch. Again, because these are very wide and I'm only small, it wasn't going to miss a couple of centimetres. So by the time I'd done that, I then went in and I actually pinned it together wrong side to wrong side, and I pinned 1 inch all the way up. Tried it on, and at that point it was starting to feel a little bit too snug. I felt like Andy Pandy then for some reason, so I'd gone the opposite way around. So not a problem, I took it straight to the sewing machine, but I just sewed it then on I'm just trying to think, it was about a 1.5, no more than a 1.5 seam allowance all the way up. By the time I'd done that, I'd lost a bit here in the crotch area, so that had gone higher. I'd lost my initial seam line, which was the 2 centimetres, then 1 inch off the bottom and 1 inch off the top. Tried it on and it's absolutely perfect. Whoo! Got out of that one, didn't I? So I was happy by then. So the next thing that I had to do was think about making the belt. Had a bit of a divvy moment here, and I made one really long belt that I turned all the way through, top stitched it beautifully, sewed it onto one of these ends, put it on. Then I thought, it's got nothing to hold on to, it's not tying up to anything. And then I realised I was just being a bit of an idiot. It was 2 straps, 1 on each side. So a quick bit of a cutting again and attaching on, and it was absolutely fine. And then I went to do the binding. I have gone for gold thread on the binding, so it really shows. I did cut it on a diagonal, fold it over again, as you would expect from a bias. And I started by sewing on the inside, sewed it all the way around, and then I folded it over, pressed it, pinned it, and then I sewed it on a 3.5 all the way around, and I think it looks absolutely beautiful. And then on the bottom, just to finish, I turned it up by 4 centimetres. I don't want these to be ankle grazers. These are more of a spring summer trouser, and I went in for my double line of stitches. So like I say, I'll get some photos to you, some close-up images, but just to show you, there's a nice twin lines that you can see. It ties all the way around so that it finishes off by tying at the front, and there's all the detail all nicely close up. And there I've got my Zadie. So now all I've got to do is translate all of those changes to the pattern so that I can now go ahead and make the final version on my fabric from New Cloth House, which is the chest fabric. So it is really expensive, that fabric. Don't want to mess it up. So I'm really pleased that I did decide to make a toile. And I'm hoping that will encourage other people to really think about this. You don't want to get it wrong. There was obviously a lot that had to change in this. And I kind of feel like I got lucky. Overall, I'm really happy with it. It looks really nice layered up. So I've had some long t-shirts on underneath it. Looks really good. It's going to look really nice with my Doc Martin pumps, with my sandals in the summer. And I am going to get tons of use out of it. And these pockets are brilliant. They're so deep. It's lovely. So I shall definitely be able to get my keys and my phone and my face mask in there. So yeah, that's it. That's my Zadie. I am extremely happy. Thanks for watching.